everyone, and welcome to this course. We are so glad that you have decided to learn with us, and I must say that you are off to a great start. As you can already see, that this is going to be the most comprehensive, concise course on UX UI design that you're ever going to get. Okay, and you're going to become an expert designer, an expert in UI UX design, and a lot more by the end of this course. This is going to be a very vast and a properly structured and planned course. We are going to discuss about a lot of different things, starting from the project initiation, starting from the process initiation to the actual conclusion, where we actually end up creating the actual product. So in this introductory video, let's have a quick look over what are the different kind of things that we are going to be learning in this video. So as you can see that we are going to learn a lot of different kind of things in this entire course. The first thing we are going to learn about the basics of design, that what essentially you mean by a designer, who is a designer and what does a designer do, and then how you start designing, how you get the inspiration, how you actually start with the designing process. Then we are going to be discussing how to work with clients, because once you are a designer you have to work with a lot of different kind of clients. You are going to be working on various client projects, so we are also going to discuss that how you need to deal with clients and how you can take up the client projects and start working on them, right? Then obviously we are going to discuss the entire workflow from scratch to the exact finish. Okay, so we are going to start from sketching, which is basically the first step in every design workflow, where you actually start creating the raw sketches, where you actually inculcate all the ideas that you have got, all the inspirations that you have received, and all the feedbacks and all the instructions that you have received from your client, and then you start slowly visualizing your product, right? So that is from the sketching process. Then we are going to head on to the next phase, which is basically thinking about the user flows. That is basically how the entire process is going to work, which process comes first, and then after that which process comes next, and that is basically the user flow that we are going to get from the sketches, right? And then we are going to jump into the sitemaps, where we are going to design sitemaps for the actual product, where we will design a hierarchical tree or hierarchical graph, so that we actually get the clear idea that which process or which screen or which state goes where. And then we are going to go to wireframes and finally create prototypes to actually view how our design is going to look across some actual devices, right? So it's going to be a very vast but also very comprehensive and concise journey, where we are going to discuss the entire design workflow from scratch to the finish and creation of the actual product, right? We are going to discuss about the user experience, the user journeys, how you can create a more wholesome and engaging experience for your customers. Then we are going to discuss about feedbacks, how you get some constructive feedbacks, and then how you just use those feedbacks to get started and make your product even better. We are also going to discuss that how this design process is basically like a cycle, because it's like a never ending process. You create something, you get some feedbacks, you send your product for user testing, and then again you start working on those feedbacks, and then you go on improving the design, improving our product, and this process continues, right? Next we are going to discuss about some other aspects like typography, which is a very important aspect. And then we are going to jump on to the next section, where we will be discussing more about the visual aspects of your designs, which include where we are going to discuss how you can work with icons, how to work with illustrations, images, and a lot more. Next we are going to also explore various different kind of design patterns and create our very own UI components. We are going to look at the creation of various UI components, how to use them, how to modify them, And then definitely we are going to discuss about creating some mobile friendly devices, because today in 2021 everyone is actually looking for such products that work well on every screen size. We all are actually wanting responsive designs that work not only well on the large screen devices like desktops or laptops, but also fit perfectly well on mobile screen devices or tablets, so that people all around the globe can access them very easily. Then we are going to jump right on to the more interesting parts, which actually make our designs much more dynamic and interesting for the customers, and that is motion, animations, and those subtle micro interactions that are going to elevate the user experience by huge levels. Then we are going to discuss about how to create our very own design systems, where we will create our own typefaces, our own brand color kits, and everything. And by now we will have reached the midpoint of this course, where we already have learned a lot about the design process or the design stages, and now we are actually ready to see how to hand off the designs that we have created to the developer. So that is basically that phase when you hand off the project and it goes from the designer into the able hands of the developer, right? There we will be creating our very own landing page for our very own startup. And after that, in the final sections, we will be learning how to code in HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and we'll also learn about CSS grids and layouts. So as you can see that this is going to be a wholesome and highly profitable course, because you're not only going to learn about UI UX design, but you're also going to learn how to hand off your project to a developer, how to deal with a developer, and also how to code. So we are not only going to cover the design sections, but we are also going to teach you how you can code in HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, and create your very own websites from scratch. So the tools that we will be using for this course, the first one is going to be Figma, the absolutely amazing tool, which is a completely free tool, and there we will be creating all our designs, prototypes, wireframes, right? And for sketching, either you can just sit with your rough pen and paper, or maybe use some online tools where you can sketch, like I have used MS Paint for this purpose. And lastly, for the final sections where we are going to learn about coding and how to create our own websites from scratch, we will be working with Visual Studio Code, which is an excellent IDE, and I have shown you the entire installation processes, setup processes for this particular IDE from scratch. So I hope that you are as excited as I am, and you just cannot wait to get started with this amazing comprehensive course that you're ever going to get. So, without further ado, let's get started.